Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, they was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians, when Irish love Irish, but when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed, but white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu, all white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like my friend.
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you."
Yeah, guess who's back, y'all? Hiatus again. You know, they've been putting my ass out of commission. And sisters, I did read your message, but again, I don't know why my stuff's so slow. I think I pay for certain types of service, but again, you know, my message is not going to be the message that most people want to hear, or those who don't want this message to be heard. So again, I want to thank all you who came out tonight, whether you are an agent, passerbys, and especially I got love for my subscribers. You know, I got to get this spiel off before I start anything. Hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, your whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Mind. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, translate, relate, decode, unveil, spread the news, play by video, news reports, websites, quotes from publications. As I articulate those informations, I ask that the creator of the universe be present and that I give all honor and praise to our ancestors. Because without them, we who are created from them, from the greatest land of the greatest people that was ever assembled in this land, this channel is to reveal the truth no matter where it hides. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. You know my motto, y'all. I ain't going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. And my subject for the night, well, before I get into that, I want to address some people who spoke out here in the audience. I think sister is Clarissa. Make sure I get that right here, because that sister is, that's right, Clarissa Willis. And out of the box, I read your message. Again, sometimes I'm trying to reply, but sometimes it's a little bit not cooperative for the simple fact that, like I said, there's certain elements that sometimes, like my shows don't get to finish. It's not because of me. It's just they're going to work to get me off. And sister, that topic that you're talking about, I'll make sure that we get about that. And the reason why I do say that, I don't specify that we are that, what you're talking about. I only say that in reference to the fact that that's how you get people who don't know. You bring them in, right? Like if you fish, you're going to throw out certain bait so that you can get the attention. And then once you reel them in, then you can espouse that kind of information. And you understand? So that's why I do that, sister. So for us to get on that particular topic, I will try to make sure if we got enough time for the night, I'll try to get into that. If not, I will definitely make sure on the next one. I'm trying not to stay away too long. So, and hey, how you doing out the box, you and your husband? You know, I got to start with some history, y'all. You know, I've been off for a few days. I mean, again, I had to do a lot of work to get back on. And so I missed a few days. And so I will try to go back a little bit on some of the things before I get back definitely into the show as well. But let me just say this, that let's start off with this history here, because I think this is real relevant for the simple fact that there's a little controversy out here. But we're going to start off with Harriet Tubman, right? Harriet Tubman, you know that the anniversary of her escaping from Virginia happened about 2 days ago, right? I think, no, it might have been the 16th. That's how long I've been off, y'all. So again, let's give a little background to that. Harriet Tubman, who was born as Araminta Ross in 1822, right? She died on March 10th of 1913, was an African abolitionist, political activist, born in slavery. Tubman escaped and subsequently made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people, family, and friends. Using the network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses known as the Underground Railroad, she later helped abolitionist John Brown recruit men from his raid on Harper's Ferry. During the Civil War, she served as an armed scout and spy for the United States Army. In her later years, Tubman was an activist in the struggle for women's suffrage. Born as a slave in Dorchester County, Maryland, Tubman was beaten and whipped by her various masters as a child. Early in life, she suffered a traumatic head wound when an irate slave owner threw a heavy metal weight intended to hit another slave, but it hit her instead. The injury caused dizziness, pain, and spells of hypersomnia, which occurred throughout her life. She was a devout Christian and experienced strange visions and vivid dreams, which she ascribed to premonitions from God. In 1849, Tubman escaped to Philadelphia, then immediately returned to Maryland to rescue her family. Slowly, one group at a time, she brought relatives with her out of the state and eventually guided dozens of other slaves to freedom. Traveling by night and in extreme secrecy, Tubman, or Moses as she was called, never lost a passenger. After the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was passed, she helped guide fugitives farther north into British North America and helped newly freed slaves find work. Tubman met the abolitionist John Brown in 1858 and helped him plan and recruit supporters for the raid on Harper Valley, or Harper Ferry. When the Civil War began, Tubman worked on the Union Army, first as a cook and nurse, and then as an armed scout and spy. The first woman to lead an armed expedition in war, she guided the raid at Combahee Ferry, which liberated more than 700 slaves. After the war, she retired to the family home on property she had purchased in 1859 in Auburn, New York, which she cared for her aging parents. She was active in the women's suffrage movement until illness overtook her and she had to be admitted to a home of elderly African Americans that she had helped to establish years earlier. After she died in 1930, she became an icon of American courage and freedom. And that is a little background history on our ancestor, Harriet Tubman. Now, you know that they got this movie that they're about to portray her. And I've seen some videos where people are out here having discussions as to whether is it right for people of non-descent of our ancestry to be playing the role of our people. Some people will say that it doesn't matter. Black is black. See, sometimes if I'm going to say something, some people are going to be offended. Because, see, black is black on the exterior, but when it's a bloodline, there is some differentiation between us. That would be like letting a Korean play Bruce Lee in a movie, right? That would be like playing, okay, now they're talking about using, what's his name, not T'Challa, but what was his name, in that movie Panther. They about to use that brother to go play Superman. So, you know what I'm saying, chocolatizing Superman now. So does it fit, or is that just the character that really fits the character persona that is who created it, right? So certain things just stays within. It's not about sometimes what is raised. It's that's the line that's supposed to be in, so that's who's supposed to play it. So if you're going to get somebody, because again, I think Oprah kind of opened that door, right? Oprah was the one that opened that door when she allowed the African brother, don't know his name off the top of the head, that played Martin Luther King. Now, I'm not saying whether he did a good job or not or so forth, but I'm just saying, you know, certain aspects you're supposed to try to stay within. You know, it's not about whether other people may not be qualified, but again, when certain stories are being depicted, it's only right that you put somebody in there who's going to garner that same spirit, right? You ever seen that the show called The Wire? Remember the brother that played that, and that he played this one particular role that he ended up getting into the spirit, and the spirits of the ancestors overwhelmed him, and he went back into a relapse, and he really, you know, was screaming and yelling. You understand? Because he got into the role and it overpowered him and overtook him for the simple fact that his DNA, what they say, the Akashic records that resides in our DNA, you know, came up. And so when we have people playing certain parts, there's going to be a realness to it. I'm not saying somebody can't act and play the part, but I'm saying, you know, again, I know some people are not going to like, because again, Barack Obama played the part of a black American. But see, that's why you know you're never going to put a black American in that White House, because again, based on his experience, DNA, and what he has experienced, and you know that's in him, he's going what Dick Gray said, if they put him in the White House, shit, put me. Not that I want that job, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if I was in that damn job, shit, yeah, that's right, get your ass up out of here, because you don't want to hear that shit. You don't want to hear that. But we know that job is just a puppet figure. It's just only going to be that, right? So anyway, they want to put somebody in that particular role. Some people will go for it, yay and nay. But again, I'm just saying, in my opinion is, you allow that role to stick with somebody who's supposed to be of that cut. That way, no misinterpretation about how it's going to be, the spirit of the acting is going to be real. Yes, you could get somebody who might be from England. And yes, they might be what we consider black. But again, they don't have the experiences. Like Obama, he didn't have the experience. Yeah, you can walk, you can play basketball, you can look the part, but you was missing the oomph. Like back in the day, y'all been around, remember it was Coke 2? Remember, you got Coke and you got Coke 2, right? That motherfucker was Coke 2, right? We want some Coke in this motherfucker. We want everything, all the ingredients that we're paying for, we want that. We don't want Coke 2 when it's a little bit off, a little diety. You know what I'm saying? So, no. But I wanted to bring that out today because that was Harriet Tubman who just to give some honor to what she had contributed as a descendant of our ancestry that led to some things that where we are today. So, you know, I always got some videos and stuff I got to play for y'all. Lots been going on, man. A lot of stuff been going on. Matter of fact, I was going to actually come on the other night, but due to the fact that I was looking at some stuff and it just made me just feel like the craziness. And I'll get into that as I go on. So let me see what I want to start off with here. I think I already know where I want to go. So, you know, again, I try to come on as much as possible daily. But sometimes certain things are just going to prohibit that. And so, you know, I have to do what I can do. I know those that I see who a little bit, when I come on, I give time for you to get here. I hope this is not a real bad time, but I think this is the best time to be doing it. Until I find another slot that would be better. So I hope this is, you know, appropriate. So what I'm going to do right now is for those people, and again, majority of y'all are older. You know what I'm saying? And you at least you're adults. So I play certain things, not because to say that people don't know, but some again, if you know what I've been doing, how I kind of piece my work together, I try to give a flow of videos and cuts to give you the gist of where I'm going with this. So I'm going to play this right now for you, not for the simple fact of saying that nobody don't understand, but again, here's propaganda, and we had to look at this because this propaganda that they're using, right? Let's see if I can get this to play right, because it's kind of shoddy.
How did one man achieve these remarkable accomplishments?
Really shoddy.
The methods he used to achieve these astonishing events are explained in his book, Propaganda. What is propaganda? Propaganda nowadays is seen as a synonym for lies. It implies half-truths, selective history, bias, misleading information and other tricks. However, it can be used in a positive manner. For example, a campaign to improve public health through vaccination. When used in such a constructive way, it can be a progressive force, capable of improving and benefiting every life and every home. Specific propaganda should be seen as good or bad depending on the merit of the cause urged and the correctness of the information published. Modern propaganda is a consistent and continuing effort to create or shape events to influence public relations on an enterprise, idea or group. Edward Bernays worked for the Woodrow Wilson administration in the First World War, using a propaganda model promoting America's war efforts as bringing democracy to Europe. After swaying the public across the world with this slogan, he set to work on employing propaganda in peacetime. Due to negative implications surrounding the word propaganda because of its use by the Germans in the war, he promoted the term public relations. Public relations expert is concerned with bringing an idea to the awareness of the public, using modern media communications and group formations of society. They act as an advisor to their clients. Edward Bernays had an impressive list of these clients, ranging from media companies such as Time Inc., CBS and NBC, through to individuals such as the President of the United States. He was not just a propagandist. He was concerned with courses of action, policies, systems and opinions, and the securing of public support for them. His responsibilities even included discovering new markets. The most famous new market Bernays was asked to uncover was that of women smoking cigarettes in the late 1920s. Up until then, women smoking in public was seen as a social taboo. Bernays set about removing this taboo to potentially double tobacco companies' possible clientele. First, he contacted a psychoanalyst to understand the societal perceptions that dissuaded women from smoking. He found that for feminists, cigarettes were like torches of freedom that symbolised their non-conformity and freedom from male oppression. He used this information to formulate a strategy and got a group of stylish women to march in an Easter Day parade. Prior to the parade, he had told the press that a group of women's rights marchers would light torches of freedom. On his cue, the women lit up their cigarettes in front of the eager photographers. The result was press coverage in several major newspapers including the New York Times, which helped to break the taboo against women smoking in public. The study of mass psychology has brought to light the fact that a group can have certain mental characteristics distinct from that of an individual. Learning how the masses are influenced by various factors allows us to affect change in public opinion with a fair amount of accuracy. However, propaganda will never be an exact science, in the same way psychology or sociology isn't, because they deal with humans. If you can influence leaders, you automatically influence the groups they rule or have authority over. The group mind has impulses, emotions and habits, rather than thoughts as such. It makes up its mind by impulsively following the example of a trusted leader or authority figure. If this is not available, the herd thinks by clichés or images that stand for a group of experiences or ideas. An old propagandist would treat the human mind as an individual machine and rely on certain stimulus, often repeated, creating a habit. Similarly, they would reiterate an idea to create conviction with individuals. For example, to advertise bacon and eggs, adverts would contain phrases along the lines of "Eat more eggs," "Bacon is good for you," and "Bacon and eggs are cheap and healthy." A new propagandist such as Bernays, who understands group psychology, would first look at who influences eating habits. The answer is doctors and physicians. They would then suggest to these doctors and physicians to publicly state that eating bacon and eggs is good for you. The propagandist knows that a large number of people will follow the advice of their doctor due to the psychological relationship between a person and their doctor. A doctor signifies health, which in turn signifies long life. Bernays used these exact methods of leader influence to convince the public that bacon and eggs were the true all-American breakfast. Bernays sold more bacon not by telling Americans that bacon is tasty, but by asking doctors the question, is it more healthy to eat a hearty breakfast or a skimpy breakfast? His advertisements then said, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend a hearty breakfast like this one, with a photo of bacon and eggs. An old advertiser would try to persuade an individual to buy an item immediately. For example, buy this piano, now! Using reiteration and emphasis directed upon the individual, the advertiser tries to break down sales resistance. A new advertiser would, instead of directly penetrating sales resistance, try to remove it by creating circumstances that will swing emotional currents that will build purchaser demand. For example, a new advertiser, when selling a piano, would try to develop acceptance of the idea of a music room in the house, perhaps by arranging an exhibition of music rooms by well-known designers, inviting key people of influence with regards to buying habits, i.e. famous musicians. The music room will be accepted, and people with a music room will naturally think of buying a piano, believing it comes as their own idea. Instead of saying to the purchaser, please buy a piano, they have caused the purchaser to say, please sell me a piano. All these methods and techniques were used for Benays' most extreme propaganda campaign, the overthrow of the Guatemalan government. The government had introduced labour laws that allowed workers to strike if their demand for higher wages were not met. The United Fruit Company had been the largest landowner and employer in Guatemala for several years, and these laws would affect their profits. Edward Benays was hired by the United Fruit Company to persuade Americans that the then Guatemalan president, Jacobo Arbenz, was a communist, when in reality he was a liberal capitalist.
So he said, Mr. Blow Your Mind, why are you showing a video about propaganda? You know why I got to show you why propaganda, because that it seems like the science that is being used more and more. And as I go more into this dissertation of this show tonight, you're going to see why I'm using this video. Now, you know, propaganda is basically the spreading of ideas, information, right? Or it could be just rumors for the purpose of helping or injuring, whether it's an institution or cause or of a person, right? So as we go more and more tonight as into what I'm about to show, remember I'm laying the groundwork, propaganda. A lot of stuff has been shown lately. And again, last time when I spoke, I was talking about how, remember the three Carmonti, remember I was showing how the sleight of hand, how they had everybody focusing on Serena when it was really about this stuff over here, right? So I said, well, what do you mean by this propaganda? Well, let me give you some examples of show you what I talk about when I get to propaganda, because we as descendants of slaves, and a lot of us waking up, a lot of those who never had any information, had any people who they can come to get information, are out here fighting against, trying to stay relevant and try to keep you in the know. But there's forces that, you know, got to keep that particular type of information to be quelled so that you don't rock their boat. Again, you remember, somebody else got a system of how they want things run, and you, who are byproduct of the oppression of it, is trying to, you know, lift the boulder, or, you know, come from up under this rock. And so I don't want to jump forward, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this again. That's for something. For propaganda, and I will go and elaborate more as we get into this. All right, so I got another video for you. Let's see if I can get it out. Everybody should.
49ers quarterback knelt instead of standing during the national anthem at last night's game. He was not.
Again, hopefully they don't get me out of here tonight, y'all. Because everything right now is really trying to get me out. They doing the DOS. Yeah, I know what you're doing. See, right now, yeah. See, right now, it's supposed to go on over there, but it's not doing it because I'm getting interference. Sitting there, bum self in here, and they're gonna try to pretend like they're not doing that. But it's okay. We're gonna fight through it anyway. All right, so let's see if I can get it off, y'all.
Out of that protest by Colin Kaepernick, 49ers quarterback knelt instead of standing during the national anthem at last night's game. He was not alone. ABC's Kana Whitworth was there and joins us now from San Diego. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George, good morning. One of Colin Kaepernick's teammates joined him in taking a knee, and a Seattle Seahawks player also didn't stand for their national anthem. But this morning, Kaepernick says he's willing to make real change and plans on donating $1 million to charities that he's been working with to help end racial inequality.
For the land and of the free.
Overnight, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand during the national anthem again. This time, he took a knee right behind hundreds of service members being honored on Military Appreciation Night. As the crowd and players stand, you can see Kaepernick kneeling on the sideline. Teammate Eric Reed joining him.
Going to stand. And he's receiving heavy boos here.
The crowd booing every time he took a snap.
He's entitled to his opinion. We fought for that. I just think he's a jerk.
And now the quarterback sparking new controversy for wearing these socks showing police officers as pigs. Those scandalous socks drawing criticism from law enforcement officials across the country. Police in Vermont tweeting, "Wealthy, privileged person's free speech dehumanizes an entire group of human beings." Sound familiar, Kaepernick? The socks that were worn, did those not seem negative?
No, that was once again, we have cops that are murdering people. We have cops in the SFPD that are blatantly racist. And those issues need to be addressed.
Players from other teams like Jeremy Lane from Seattle are joining Kaepernick in his seated stand, begging the question, how far will this go?
At this point, I think it will continue to be taking a knee. As far as how long this goes, I'm not sure.
I asked Kaepernick if he plans on taking up the San Francisco Police Association on their invite to visit the academy, and he says yes, adding that he's concerned about racism within the department, saying that some bad cops are giving all cops a bad name. Amy.
All right, Kana, thank you.
Okay, so we know that's been in the news, and this is nothing new, right? We know that's not new at all. Now, what's funny is when in that report, it talked about the stance he was talking about, right? That he's talking about is about police brutality. That was what it initially had always been about, right? That was his stance. As an American, according to the Constitution, and those are the laws of the land, he has a right to be able to do that. But those people who are in opposition to it believe that he was being disrespectful. Now, what is the propaganda being here? That some people are trying to use the fact that his protest is against military. Not what he's talked about. Not what he's speaking about. So they're trying to minimize what he's talking about, right? So the same stance that he's taken, right, about police brutality and the inhumaneness that has been this so-called killing with impunity amongst our people. And yet some people will try to balance the scale by saying, well, black people are killing black people. But that doesn't negate the fact that black people, especially the people who are descendants of slaves, based on the trauma that they have been dealing with for over hundreds of years, versus somebody who goes and punch a clock, who, based on this so-called facade of white supremacy, right? And you're supposed to be highly intelligent and more cultured and so forth, right? But when you seem to be dealing with interactions with other people of your sameness, you seem to not be able to deal with it in the way that you would deal with your own. Because propaganda has stigmatized a certain element of our people that makes you always seem to be in fear, right? So I'm setting the platform, y'all. just bear with me. I'm setting the platform because see, right? Let's take that, right? Let's see how people, they feel about Kaepernick and the stance that he took. Whether I agree whether he did the commercial or not, and then how he kind of softened it up by, again, umbrellaing, putting everybody with everybody, right? We're going to say, you know, everybody. No, we here have a particular situation that distinguishes us from anybody else. If you are descended of the cut of the cloth of this, you should know what I'm talking about. See, and so here's a person of a mixed ancestry who decided to step over and say he's going to take the cause of that. In itself, it's always going to be a problem because, again, a person to me out of a mixed ancestry in the mind. You cannot read the mind. You cannot read nobody until you figure them out. So they can always cloak. And that has always been an undermining thing, how we've always been infiltrated in things that we have tried to do, even going back to when we was on the plantation, when certain people felt like they needed to go run and tell massa they got plans, right? So if they saying that the stance that he's taking is disrespectful to the military, to the country, then how is it that this person here, who's in the same league, would say something like this? Now, check this out. Let's see if I can get this to work on key, because it seems like nothing wants to work on key. Can you hear that little? You can hear that in the background.
Who was working for the Republican Party in Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
Hold on.
Now, according to the Beaver County Times,
somebody working. They working it hard, y'all. I'm fighting to stay on. I'm gonna do everything I can to stay on as long as I can. But they fighting. You can hear. You can kind of hear it a little bit in the video as I play. So just bear with me. I'm gonna try to work it out. We're gonna get it off eventually. All right, let's see if I can get this.
Racist comments on Facebook revealed, prompting the resignation of a woman who was working for the Republican Party in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Now, according to the Beaver County Times, Carla Maloney called NFL players who kneeled during the anthem baboons and ignorant blacks in posts on her private Facebook page, posts that have since been removed. And here's one of those posts. Steelers are now just as mad as the rest of the overpaid baboons. You respect your flag, country, and our national anthem. How many men and women have lost limbs or died to protect this country, and you baboons want respect? If you want respect, you need to earn it, and so far you haven't. Stop watching or going to a game and paying for overpriced food, water, and tickets. Let's see how the baboons get paid when white people stop paying their salaries. Joining us now, CNN political commentator and Temple University professor Marc Lamont Hill, and also joining us by phone, former NFL player Walter Dunson. Walter, let me start with you. I mean, it's difficult for me to read that. I'm so offended personally at this point. Does any of this surprise you, and what is your reaction?
Well, you know, none of it surprises me at all. We had this conversation almost a year ago as it pertains to the president. The president has made, you know, people feel like it's okay to not only voice their opinion about this, but also, as we see now, to write their opinion even in the public area. And we're talking about public officials at that. You know, as players, we're just taken aback about all of this. You know, our goal isn't to be disruptive by any means or anything like that. We just want to. We just stand with Kaepernick and trying to make sure that everybody understands that we are standing against police brutality, and that's what it's all about for the NFL players.
Mark, Carla Maloney was not only a GOP official, she also came on CNN identifying herself as a Trump supporter, and I wonder. I mean, is this what you were worried about? I mean, is this what you have been speaking about in terms of the Trump administration? Inciting racial division?
It's two things. On the one hand, it is, as a matter of fact, what the Trump administration has helped produce. They have normalized a culture where you can call NFL players baboons, where you can question their patriotism, where you can question their humanity, and where you can make NFL owners seem like they don't own teams, but that they own people. And the second part of it, though, is that for many people, this feels like the explicit articulation of what Trump subtly says in his tweets, what he subtly says in his remarks, when he calls them SOBs, when he talks about how lucky they are to be in the NFL, when he talks about getting rid of them. All of these sort of things feel like almost like, she feels like Trump unplugged, like what the inner workings of Trump's mind are. Now, again, that's my speculation, but the subtext of what he says and the context of what he says resonates very strongly with what this woman said very clearly, and that's why many of us have anxiety with what the Trump moment and the Trump administration has produced.
Let me read you another one of her posts. She says, "Tired of these overpaid, ignorant blacks telling me what I should believe in. I will tell you what I believe in, and that is our flag and national anthem and America, period, end of story. You don't like it? Here, go to Africa. See how you like it there. We are all Americans, not African American, not Hispanic American. We are all American. Walter, she only resigned after these posts went public.
I mean, that's what I understand. You know, again, I mean, these words are just extremely disrespectful. Disrespectful to her office. You know, as she walked into the office, it's also disrespectful to us as African Americans. It's just a disrespectful period. Whether we're black, white, or whatever, that isn't what we're here. That isn't what we're here to do, and that's not what we're about. Again, the protest, you know, from the player standpoint, is only about police brutality. We're not interested in anything else other than that. We're trying to bring the light to that situation, trying to better that situation, not only locally but also nationally as well.
In her resignation letter, Mark, she writes, while it does not change the fact that the words were mine and mine alone, the fact that these posts were made public were the result of an ongoing family dispute. Does that give you any empathy for her?
No, she got outed being racist by somebody who doesn't like her. Now, whether or not they have reason not to like her outside of these posts, I don't know. That's their family business. But I have no empathy that a racist gets outed as racist because someone who did it might also be a jerk too. I'm more concerned with the fact that had a family member not outed this woman, we would have someone in public office who believes and feels these things, and also that there may be, in fact, there are numerous people, whether they're private citizens or public officials, who also carry these beliefs, who will never know about, but who have an influence in public policy, who have an influence in public discourse, and who help shape and reflect political thoughts that go all the way up to the White House. That's what scares me, not that she got outed.
Mark, the NFL season kicks off this Thursday where you are, in Philadelphia. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you were there. What do you expect this season in terms of anthem protests, owner reaction, and, of course, President Trump?
Well, you shouldn't be surprised if I'm there. I'm boycotting the NFL this year as I boycotted last year. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl, although the Eagles did win the Super Bowl and the Cowboys did not. I want to make that very clear. But the Eagles got to rub with Dallas. But no, I don't watch the NFL until Colin Kaepernick has a job, until Reed has a job. I will not watch the NFL. But what I do expect, what I hope to read and watch on CNN, is that numerous NFL players have protested, and if the NFL players have the political courage that I pray they have, all of them will be on one knee when the season starts. Because until Kaepernick has a job and until racial justice has been properly addressed by the NFL, not fixed but properly addressed, nobody should be standing up. Everybody's body should be at half mast.
Mark Lamont Hill, Walter Dunson, thank you so much.
Okay. So some people may have heard that and some people didn't hear that. But there was, again, this was somebody who was in the NFL, right? Oh, well, not in the NFL, but actually somebody who's in who had a political seat and voiced their opinions as to their opinion or their feelings as to what they felt about, again, a person who's taking their stance. So where's the propaganda in this? So now let's take some of the things she stated. She talked about that whites pays the salaries of the NFL players. They pay to go to the stadium. They do buy, from the concession stands and jerseys and tickets and all that. But you don't pay the player salary. That money you pay goes to the people who own that, and they pay the players, and they paying the players based on, you understand, the service that they're rendering for their business. Now, you boycotting them is boycotting against them owners, right? The players are separate from them, but some people will take that their boycott will hurt them, but you're hurting the owners. That's why the owners be going all out their way to do what they do to try to get them players in line, right? So they love saying inciting racial division, as if like all this shit just started when Donald Trump got in the damn office, right? They love saying, well, these people are inciting racial division. This country has always been Don't make me put up my sign. This always been about race, right? Trump didn't initiate this. He's just, you know what I'm saying? He's the progenitor. He's just a inheritor of what has been already laid. You understand? But there is, again, being deflective. The propaganda is never to be yourself. The propaganda is always something else other than the obvious. And then they love talking about this baboon, this monkey thing. Right? Love talking about trying to say that black people are monkeys. When they done did the DNA, well, again, it could be fallacies in the DNA test, but again, they don't want to put it out there, right? So they, in their blood, right, they have the RH blood factor. Now, those who see my video where I showed you about that RH factor, remember I showed you about when a person who is a black person having a baby with a white person, that they have to take these shots so that just genetically, biologically, their system is going to attack because it's something foreign, right? So that RH negative bloodline, which is that rhesus monkey, always trying to call us the damn monkey when the monkey is in your damn blood. How you call us monkey when they told you that the monkey blood is in the Neanderthal blood? But you always constantly want to keep throwing monkey at us, right? And then they love this old saying of we want you to go back to Africa. We want you to get your ass out of Africa so we can get our ass back in Africa. Why don't you do that shit? Why don't you get your ass, them other motherfuckers' ass, and them other motherfuckers' ass, get their ass out of there, and then we could go back to motherfucking Africa. You understand? Whether if that was a choice of ours or not, but again, I have my reason why I'm here. My ancestors are here. Now, I ain't saying that I don't have African lineage. I'm saying my folks is here. Now, that's another topic for another time. But what I'm saying is, you always love to tell the motherfucker go back to Africa, but y'all ass over there doing all kinds of shit to try to carve it up again. The recolonization of Africa is happening all over again. As I done broke the story earlier, I see more people now starting to talk about it when I broke it from day one when it happened. Right? So, you know, it's funny how they're propagating the fact that, okay, the racial divide has something to do with the foundation of this nation. Let's just keep that shit real. It's not has nothing to do with just one individual who's just out here who's speaking what's on the top of his head and other people co-signing. This is just what it's been. Why is it that it's such a hard thing for them to accept the fact that this is who you are? Why is that the hardest thing for you to do? You know who you are and what you represent and what you're standing for. So why would you have a problem with being recognized for what it is? Why try to front and pretend what you're not and then be angry when somebody says what you are? That tells me that something psychologically you have problems. But again, you can't diagnose them because you are inferior. So you trying to diagnose and tell the truth, they can't accept it from you. And will you ever be able to tell the truth to each other? No, because they'll skew the information. Even if the facts is laid before them, they will still skew it just like they skew the damn history. They're never going to tell you exact and the fact of everything in history because it takes them out of that picture. So in order for them to stay relevant, they have to stay in that position, and that's what they're going to do. So they're keen on always propagating us as the culprit, the antagonizers, right? We cause them to be racial. You get what I'm saying? Because we start to make stances about the injustices and the things that are wrong we're trying to right, and because we're doing that, it's a problem. Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, why do I got a problem when I can see for certain what is being done? But is it because you want to keep believing that what you've been told and what's been passed down as a mythological story in your families about these particular people, and you want to hold that to be self-evident of true? Yes, every nation has its bad elements in it. But again, one particular people have the power to determine the other ones. You understand? Why the other one can only accept. So the only thing it has is a voice. And you don't even want that in these days, right? So let me show you this, because see, this is my answer to that. This is what I say to what this whole thing, how they be like, you know, we monkeys and all that shit. And you know, they say that shit, but I'm gonna show you something back in the day. You might remember this scene. Let me see if you remember. Y'all remember this scene? You've seen this before. This ain't nothing new. Matter of fact, let me hold on. They're gonna fight it. You hear it? Y'all hear it? They fighting me. Okay, hold on. Come on, we're gonna get it in there. Come on, don't do that. Go on, let it happen. Ain't nothing to fight about it. It's just what it is. You can't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. Just let it happen. All right, let's see if I can get it going, y'all.
Okay, what is it now?
Is it true? Is it true? Is it true what he said? Isn't that when she talking about you overpaid? They're overpaid, black, ignorant, black mugs, baboons. Is it the fact that you dream that you could do some of the things? I know in this new age, right? Right now there's a lot of crown people where, to me, they shouldn't be there. But they crown is because the watering down, right? When you water people down, again, you can rise if you're watering people down. So of course you can rise to the top. But when we're in that element and in that naturalness, you ain't gonna get there. So what Goldie said back then, he said, matter of fact, you wish you looked like me. And that was just too much truth that I had to get physical. And that's why it is. When we start, see, that's what this truth is doing. This truth is irritating people. See, again, like I say, the analogy is a vampire in a mirror, right? When you see that mirror and see that reflection, or he don't like what he see. And so what happens is they get angry. And they want to say that so I have to keep putting it on you in order for not to look at me. But yet the evidence is time after time after time after time. It's prevalent. It's real. But we're supposed to ignore it. No, you have to believe what you've been told. Again, the mythology that's been spread to you. You have to keep upholding that, because otherwise we become more human. I'm not saying we're not human, but in the capacity of the psychosis of these people, equality means equal, like if they consider themselves humans. And Clarissa, I did read that. I did read that. You know what I'm saying? I feel you on that. And you know, when you in the presence of that which you had worshipped, and you done everything to beat it down and get it in this degraded state, you're going to always have issues when it's still sprouting up. You're like, damn, we ain't fuck them up where they just, no matter what we're doing, they're still producing roses coming out of the goddamn concrete. I thought we sealed all this shit off, but still keep rising. Why? Because you can't, like I keep telling you, the truth don't need no partner. See, some people, again, you got some people out here who think that because we can worship, let's go into, let's say this, if you believe into the Christian doctrine and religion. You got some people out here who think, well, fuck it. We already know what the fuck we're doing. All right, this is a secret, right? We're not going to tell anybody, but this is how it's going down. We all know the real fucking secret. We're just going to keep smashing these niggas until their asses just can't do shit, but we're going to always keep denying the shit. Somebody said, well, what about the fuck when we die? Well, fuck it. Let's just do this. Hey, John came up with a good ass idea. John said, if we fucking worship the fucking devil, right? So if we fucking go to hell, and he's going to be ruling hell, well, fuck it. That's the mindset. You get what I'm saying? That's the fucking mindset the motherfucker got. He think that if his ass, see, you trying to read the hand of the creator. You think that you can say what the creator gonna do, because somehow that the book that you read, again, like propaganda, there's truth mixed with lies. Again, I'll give you an example. Now I'm not telling I'm not saying it's, again, truth mixed with lies. It's like propaganda. I'm gonna give you an example. There's scriptures for those who read the book. You heard this before. Again, I said it last time, so it'll be kind of like I'm repeating myself. But I always gonna use it because, again, you got to ask yourself who wrote it. God must have been taking a break, leaving before he wasn't coming. Oh, and guess who? He just happened to see somebody walking by. Hey, where you coming from? Now, just who happened to be talking to? Satan, the devil. Where you going? Where you coming from? Coming from to and fro, back and forth. What you do? You got your eyes set on my servant Job? You know what I'm saying? That's the conversation between the devil and God. Who's sitting there writing? Right? So, again, that can be allegory. It would have another meaning. But if you take it literally, okay. So now, there's God and the devil. These people say, well, based on the devil, and he's against God, and if God in my mind has to be black, I definitely see you're so racist to the fact that if you believe that the creator is black, you still want to go against it. That's how crazy this shit is. Motherfucker is looking at the creator and saying, fuck it, if he's black, fuck it, I'd rather kick with the fucking devil, because see, fuck it, let's do this, what John said. So this is how some of these motherfuckers is thinking. They thinking that the shit that they doing and the right that they're doing, as long as they going to uphold and hold that, how do you know that the creator going to be like, that's the way it's going to end? That's why they cry their ass off when one of them is in, you know what I'm saying, when they're doing them services. Because they always want to tell you, well, he's looking down. You can't say that. All you ain't worthy of that. See, this ain't no couple of people. This ain't just a little small segment of people. There's a whole lot of them out here. You understand? When you go out your way to do what you do to keep me from talking, I know there's a whole lot of you out here, right? So I'm going to my next part. Right, let me see if somebody out here talk. Oh, okay, I got 8 people in the house. I like that. All right. Again, I like that. Thank everybody who out here listening to me give my dissertation. Again, you might be agents in here, or you might be passerbys. So let me show you this other thing I got going now. Again, on this theme line that I'm talking about, which is propaganda. See, certain people, again, will keep reiterating a certain kind of thing. And again, they said we keep saying something over and over and over again in the science of propaganda, that shit is going to stick in your head. If I keep showing you a commercial, shit, McDonald's came on that time, come back to back. Sometimes have you ever watched TV and the motherfucking commercial double up on you like deja vu? Like, damn, they double of that, because they trying to get your ass to get up and go buy that shit. You understand? Because they understand the science to that shit. So if the news keep putting us in a negative light and we ain't number killing and all this, so then when the stereotype of that shit has permeated the land, then when these people do the shit they gonna do, because again, the video I'm gonna get you, the real crux of this whole show tonight, because I'm gonna tell you before I get there, that when I get to this particular clip, I believe this particular event is going to be, let's put it this way, we may have to prepare for impact. That's how bad I think that might be. But I won't jump forward until we get there. But just give me a second, because again, you know, my shit over here is slow. So let me give you another thing. Let me show you something. Now, you know that they had what was going over in North Carolina, right? You know that storm that happened in North Carolina, right? Everybody's seen that shit, right? So let me give you what they did on the news, how they reported that story first, right? And then I'm gonna come behind that and I'm gonna show you something else. Okay, y'all probably already know this shit, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway, because it's on my show. You know, I get my own opinion, how I'm looking at it. And again, it's kind of slow, y'all.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor in Wilmington, North Carolina, and this is a special edition of the CBS Evening News.
Come on now. Come on. Somebody quit trying to work and get me off and let me do my thing. Damn shame. I pay for this kind of internet service and you're acting like my shit don't work. Come on now. Try it again, y'all. Somebody working hard. Somebody working hard right now. Okay, come on. Can I get back to what I was doing? Thank you, sir. Oh, ma'am, or whoever he is, letting it go. Let's go. All right, now check this out.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Glor in Wilmington, North Carolina, and this is a special edition of the CBS Evening News. The rain will barely let up here on this coast for another 24 hours. The preliminary rainfall totals from Florence are staggering. The National Weather Service says more than 30 inches of rain was measured in Swansboro, North Carolina. That shatters the state's tropical system rainfall record of more than 24 inches set during Hurricane Floyd in 1999. Officials warn some rivers are approaching historic flood levels, and the worst of it may still be to come. The death toll from Florence climbed today to at least 12. Some have been killed by fallen trees, others have died on flooded roads. Nearly 1 million homes and businesses in the Carolinas have lost power. Today, the mayor of Wilmington told us it could take weeks to restore all electricity to this city. President Trump and Vice President Pence receive updates on the storm at the White House today. The president plans to travel here sometime soon. We have a team of correspondents covering this disaster. We're going to begin tonight with Adriana Diaz and the massive rescue operation in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Adriana?
Jeff, despite a mandatory evacuation order in Jacksonville, many people decided to stay home, and that means some people saw these floodwaters rise around them. Crews that were supposed to be out on the street collecting debris had to be rerouted to help with rescue efforts. Volunteers brought boats, and federal air support was called in. Coast Guard helicopters flew through rain to reach people today in homes too remote for rescue boats. We watched as guardsmen were deployed to the ground.
Have you been pulling people from homes, from roofs?
Yeah, it's people that flag us down where they need help.
Most evacuations were by boat. We found this family looking for any neighbors who might need help.
Man, it was pretty quick. I woke up till it was about halfway up the street, and about 2 hours later, we was worried about it coming into our house.
The National Guard, first responders, and volunteers rescued dozens of people who live in low-lying areas of Onslow County.
Hello!
Where the worst flooding is chest deep. Callie Sterling lives in a dry part of the county, but rushed here to help.
What does it look like back there? It's pretty deep. It's scary. There's cars already going under. There's people freaking out.
Some brought what they could in shopping bags.
You're okay.
Others cradled wet pets to safety. This scene is just a slice of Florence's assault on the Carolinas. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper.
The water is rising fast everywhere, even in places that don't typically flood. Many people who think that the storm has missed them have yet to see its threat.
That's why Anthony Love's family is leaving. They've been here for 2 decades, and this is their first time fleeing the floodwater.
This is the worst it's ever been. Luckily, we don't have any water in our house, but it's getting close.
We've never seen this before. Never, never, never. Not like this. So that's something, you know, that's going to be like for the history books.
This rain is expected to continue for days, which means more risk of flooding. In fact, a curfew that already lifted will be reimposed tonight at 9 p.m. until 7 a.m. tomorrow. Officials don't want anyone out on the streets when they can't see well because of the flooding, because of downed power lines, and also with no power in this area, there are no street lights. Jeff?
So, originally, I remember when I heard about that storm, it was probably been a hurricane, right? And it's probably been mass devastation, right? But when you really look at that, I seen them did pick up a person here, people here and there, right? And I seen some water, I seen some people in the boat. But a lot of that stuff just kind of looks staged up. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of staged up, and the people over here, and anybody who's in North Carolina who might have lost anybody, okay, my condolences for that. I'm talking about this propaganda I'm seeing. I'm not saying that some of that water didn't happen in some places, but I'm just saying the way that they did it, because this next video I'm going to show you is going to contradict what they're showing, right? So they're showing, you know, people, a person or two being rescued, and they give you the scenario. They're telling you what you see, but you're not seeing what you're supposed to be seeing. They're just telling you what you're seeing. Just like, did y'all see that video where that one news weathercaster that was outside was talking about the winds was so damn strong, and he was faking like it, and the 2 motherfuckers was walking behind him and shit, and they were walking normal, and he was acting like he was getting blown? Bullshit, right? Propaganda. But why are they doing that? You understand? You got to understand what is the purpose for them doing that, right? So in the way that this story is being depicted, it had the sentiment, you know, could have played the music behind it, right? Oh, saving white people and the dog. There was a couple niggas in there. Come on, talk for us, right? We don't know if they work for motherfucker now, but come on, talk with us, right? Then they're gonna give you the flip side. Now, y'all know I'm finna go. If you're up on things, you know how I'm finna go, because you know what the flip side was, right? What was the flip side? Huh? This in the same state, but we're going to go to the nigga section of town. And what they going to show on the nigga section of town just didn't make no motherfucking sense at all. You got that? I'm going to wait to have that play and be like, okay, what's this shit here, y'all? What was this shit? Okay, let's do it. Cause let's see, was it some bullshit? Was it bullshit?
This is 13th and Greenfield.
Come on.
We're gonna stay with.
Oh, y'all trying to freeze me up. Don't freeze me up. Let me finish out the night. Don't do it to me yet. They working on me, y'all. They working. All right, let's see if I can get it in. Come on.
This is 13th and Greenfield. We're going to stay with this situation. Items in hand, guys. Hey, guys, you know you're looting, right? You know you're stealing. Sir, you know you're looting, correct? You know that you're looting and that's illegal? You can see people coming out right now with items left and right from the store.
Don't play cop. Don't play cop. Hey, they can attack you or do something here.
Let's see if we can go back around front, guys, and see what's happening. There are no folks associated with law enforcement on site. I can hear you guys too, by the way. I don't have my IFB in, so if you're talking to me. All right, look across the street here. People filling up what looks like laundry bags full of items. Running. It's a mad dash around here. Let's go back to the front, Kristen. Here we go. People coming out with trash bags. This is what's the worst of the worst in these hurricanes, folks. People getting desperate, looking for items. Looks like they've just busted completely through the door here.
Right, you understand? Wait, hold on, man. Hold on. Did you see that shit, y'all? Did that shit seem a little odd? Have you ever seen a newscaster? Now, okay, let me give Mr. Blow Your Mind whiteologist perspective on this shit. Oh, fuck that shit. Let's get into this shit. Right? Now, I gave you the other side of North Carolina, what it was going through. Oh, it was flooding boats and it was rescuing, you know, elderly and dog and all that shit. But you got to the nigga section of North Carolina. Oh, he ain't got all that shit over there. Them niggas over there looting is what they saying. And here's the newscaster. Ain't no police over there, right? But she happened to be on the scene. Now, you know, the backdrop to the story is that the owner of the motherfucking store decided to say, according, this is what was said. Again, we don't know whether it's true or not. Again, propaganda. Store owner said, fuck it. I ain't finna charge. I'm not finna put any charges on nobody. Let that shit just be. Now, here her ass going, thinking she Geraldo Herrera and shit, running up on motherfuckers. You know you're stealing, right? You know, she trying to get a motherfucking Emmy or some shit. You know you're stealing, right? You know you right? Wait a minute. Do you know who you talking to? See, that's what I'm talking about. Here it is, historically in this country, you know what you've done to these people, and especially this section you in. These are really the descendants of the people who, again, cut from our cloth, those who like myself, right? Now, again, some people say, well, you know, your life is based on the sum total of the things that you didn't do, you didn't, you didn't pursue, or you didn't really want. That's a lot of bullshit. Who in the fuck in this life don't want nothing? Now, I know there's different ways that you got to work to obtain certain shit, but don't get it twisted as it ain't no obstacles and glass ceilings in this motherfucking life. So that's no matter. Sometimes you can do all the right things and still be on the other side of the shit. See, a lot of people ain't gonna talk like that. They gonna act like everything is you do the right things and everything gonna fall in order. No, you can do all the right things and shit still don't work for you. So the point I'm saying is, here's a person who trying to really take this moment and broadcast this shit and trying to again stigmatize black people like in a situation of emergency. They're in here looting. Well, goddamn it, we don't need a hurricane to be in goddamn an emergency. You understand? Black people been in that shit. You get what I'm saying? So, again, what I'm saying is, white people got a cold, black people got pneumonia. You get what I'm saying? So, if a situation that black people who already living in dilapidated areas, who are the highest number of unemployment, and then a disaster happens. And they know goddamn good and well, just like what happened in Louisiana, right? Then no boats and no rescues and no dogs didn't come. So guess what? My boy got to get some shit. Baby need Pampers. My wife need clothes. My baby needs shoes. Huh? So guess what you gonna do in survival mode? You going to get you some shit. But see, somebody want to take the motherfucking shit and try to put your ass on camera, trying to make you look like savages and beasts when all you trying to do is fucking survive. You know, again, like I said, the secret meeting, the shit you know the fuck what you're doing, but you ain't gonna say that shit. You're just gonna act like that's just a figure of imagination of a motherfucker when you really know that you're having these meetings and you're collaborating with these institutions and all this bullshit, and then you want to sit here and you want to broadcast the shit, and the shit kind of looked at stage. How the fuck did you know to get your ass there to be there when it's happening? Think about what I'm saying. How did the news know to be the fuck right there when this shit coming in? And she gonna say, it looks like y'all broke the door down. Motherfucker, it's a hurricane. How you know some shit didn't fly and bust the door open? Motherfuckers seen it and was like, fuck that shit, man. The store open, y'all. Let's go. And motherfuckers start grabbing shit. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have to be, niggas didn't have to break in. It's a hurricane. Wind. Again, y'all kept showing all this high wind and so hard and blowing and people, you got curfew and don't be outside. Okay, if that's what it was. And the store owner was like, I ain't tripping because guess what? Insurance going to cover all that shit because all that shit is watered anyway. I ain't tripping on that shit. So why you got your ass down there with a motherfucking camera trying to put our people on blast like that? Huh? Why they was doing that shit? See, it makes them feel good and hard to see again. It validates that mythology bullshit that, see, black people are nothing but, and you have some niggas that got these shows and shit, and they want to say that same bullshit. See, black people, they're looting and shit, and see, you want to take the white point and you want to try to stigmatize, but you don't want to look at the history, the cause and effect, why black people in the condition that they in. Nobody wants to do that because you all want to try to put it on self, right? You always want to put it on motherfucking self than the fact of the cause and effect that got them in the condition. If you had already repaired them and then they fucked up like that, then you could do that, but you ain't prepared nobody. So you can't use that shit. But see, you like doing that shit. And so that creates a hysteria in the minds of somebody sitting at home and they, oh my God, black people are wild and they're crazy and they're, look at it, just stealing and look at it. They didn't even care the cameras are there. My motherfucker didn't have no food prior to that. And that was the opportunity. You understand? You mean to tell me you sitting there, shit, you ever seen one of them videos and shit where you go to them, I forgot, so like South American shit, and the monkeys and shit be out there, and the motherfuckers be out there eating and shit. That motherfucking monkey will come up there and snatch your shit and run. Is it because he can do this shit, or he like, man, fuck it, this ain't nothing else out here? I mean, you seeing bears and shit coming in people's yards and all kind of motherfucking wildlife because you building on every motherfucking thing, so they ain't got nowhere to eat. So guess what? Pretty soon you gonna look like meal. You gonna look like something to eat soon. If these motherfuckers got nothing to eat. And what you going to say? Wow. You're going to say, oh, they're animals. They're animals. Because that's what animals going to do. You put anybody in that motherfucking situation and they're going to do that shit. Ain't got nothing to do with about that bullshit y'all be trying to propagate. But again, that's propaganda. Right? That's what you do. All right. I had some more history, but I ain't going to do that. I'm going to get in because these motherfuckers, they're going to knock me out eventually. They're going to do it. So, what's my next one? So you know I got to get, I'm going to give you this here. Let me give you this here. Because it's time to get into the meat of tonight. I'm going to get into the meat. Listen to this closely.
So in his book, from the book Behold the Pale Horse, written by William Cooper, a former naval intelligence officer, in regards to a document concerning the American public, it states, diversion is the primary strategy. The simplest method for securing silent weapons is to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant of basic system principles while keeping them confused. And this is what these reality shows are doing. Confused about gender, confused about political, confused about your role. You understand what I'm saying? Confused about religion, confused about politics. It says keep them confused, disorganized, and distracted with matters of no real importance. Whereas the media keeps the adult population's attention diverted from real social issues and captivated by matters of no real importance. It goes on to say, the schools that keep the young public ignorant of real mathematics, real economics, real law, and real history. Entertainment is kept below the 6th grade level.
Okay, I want to move quickly through your calls now.
Okay, so keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. What was said by Professor Griff about how dumbing down and keeping people on a certain level of understanding, right? Now, man, this is where it's at right here, y'all. This where I'm going right here. This is what the show is really based on. And the seriousness of this particular event or this situation. Again, I done already made videos about this. Now that it's in its, it's in this movement now, it's just a matter of time. But so for some of y'all who are not in the know and don't know, I'm going to play a series of videos in sequence, and then I'm going to come back. You have to see that. Well, I'm not. I'm going to do one at a time. How about that? It don't make no sense to do it, because if I do that, then it'll get lost in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. Hold on. No, I ain't going to go there. I'm going to go here first. And let me just give you the backdrop where I'm going. You know that case in Chicago, right? You know the story. Are you familiar with the story, the Laquan McDonald story, right? Where the cop that Van Dyke, who basically they even charging him with first-degree murder, right? This case should be pretty much known all over, but again, it's because this ain't not supposed to be known like this. So let me just show you from the public view of what they already out here, and let you get caught up to speed for you who don't know. They're not long videos. They're real short, but I'm going to go from one to the next. But this is the beginning of how it started, y'all. All right, let me get back, because they kind of making it hard for me to get it out. All right, here we go. Let's get it.
Today, holding citizen, 4100 killed there by the United Rental, a male who we caught breaking into trucks and stealing radios. He's holding them.
This guy kind of walking away from me, he's got a knife in his hand.
Alright, anybody have a taser? How about 40 in Keeler for 815 Robert? Looking for a taser. Armed offender.
Popped our tire on our car, squad.
10-4. Anybody close? 40, they're more by car.
45 Robert, we're about 2 blocks away.
As you can see, it's getting real shoddy, right? It's getting real shoddy because it's getting real. It's real right now. If you didn't think it was real before, it just got real. What you just seen there was a story that's the case that that started a few days ago in Chicago. The trial of that officer shooting Laquan McDonald 16 times. Now think about that. Young man, again, he might have been doing something that was illegal, criminal. Accordingly, he was going in cars, might have been stealing radio. They still haven't found no radio. But he was called and said he had a 3-inch knife, which, according, I think 3-inch knife is kind of legal in the city. Based on the call and that they were waiting on a taser to apprehend him because of him having the knife. And so this particular cop here went out his way extra and then claimed that he feared for his life. Right? So let me give you the next. I'm going to give you, so because we're depending on where you are, you may not know all this. And again, it is what it is, y'all. Here's the next part to that. I'm just going to give you each piece of it. So they had the jury selection, right? They had the jury selection. And hold on, let me see. Yeah, it's real shoddy, man. It's real. I'm hoping to get through this, y'all. I'm hoping to get through.
Selected
right now,
over the objection of Jason
is doing everything to keep me from doing it. It don't. I mean, you know, that's what truth do, y'all. This is what truth will do. So here's about the juror, right? Listen to this story as I play this.
CBS 2's Jim Williams reports live from the Layton Criminal Court building at 26th and California. And Jim, the first African-American juror was picked today.
Erica, she was selected over the objection of Jason Van Dyke's attorneys, who did not like the way the woman described the video showing the killing of Laquan McDonald. On the second day of jury selection in Jason Van Dyke's trial, the first African-American juror was picked. Race is at the heart of this case. Van Dyke, the white officer, killed a black teenager, Laquan McDonald, an example, black activists say, of racism in the Chicago Police Department. The black juror, a woman, appears to be in her 50s, a Federal Express driver who said of the dash cam video showing the 2014 shooting, "I thought it was horrific to see on television. I couldn't see if he was guilty, but I had an opinion about how many times the shots went off. That was a lot of shots." Van Dyke's attorneys wanted the woman barred from the jury, pointing to her description of the video as horrific. Prosecutors accused the officer's lawyers of trying to keep people off the jury because of their race. In addition to a revolving panel of 3 journalists witnessing the judge and attorneys questioning potential jurors, 3 members of the public are allowed in as well. CBS 2 legal analyst Irv Miller.
Because the public does have a limited constitutional right to be present in a courtroom, based primarily on the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of press.
Van Dyke's attorneys took issue with the inclusion of activist William Calloway, filing a motion saying Calloway is calling on people to riot if Van Dyke is acquitted.
Every time something is done that deprives Van Dyke of a fair trial in the eyes of his lawyer, they're going to file a motion.
Calloway denies a call for violence.
Yeah, I've never said, and nobody in our coalition has ever said anything pertaining to inciting a riot, promoting a riot. We would never ever say anything like that.
So now we are at 9 jurors. Before the 12th juror is sworn in, Van Dyke's attorneys will decide whether or not they want a jury trial or a bench trial, and they will, of course, continue to argue that the trial should be moved out of Cook County altogether. Live from the Criminal Courts Building, Jim Williams, CBS 2 News. Erica?
Oh.
Okay, so they have a black juror that is going to be present on this case. Now I want you to see this. Okay, you won't be able to say you not up. Though you listen over here with me, you'll never be able to say you not up on things, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep you up. All right, here's the next part to this. Check this out. If it's going to play right, it may not play. Hold on.
The clock is ticking tonight for Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke as he makes a critical decision.
Yeah, I mean, it is really doing some funny stuff over here. But that's okay. I'm going to work with it.
The clock is ticking tonight for Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke as he makes a critical decision in his murder trial. Does he put his fate in the hands of a jury or a judge? Van Dyke has just hours left to decide in the trial for the shooting death of Laquan McDonald. Today, the 12 members of the potential jury were finalized, along with 5 alternates. Now, of the 12, there are 7 people that are white, 4 women right here, and 3 men. There are 3 Hispanic women serving as jurors as well. 1 Asian American man will sit on this jury, and of the 12 members, only 1 is black, a woman. Now compare that to the racial makeup of Cook County, where the latest census results show 24% of the population is black. Laquan McDonald's great uncle says he is disappointed in the racial breakdown of the jury, but not worried about it.
If the prosecution is allowed to present the facts of this case, if they are allowed to do so, I believe that any jury, no matter what race they are, can bring about the right decision.
When court is back in session tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., the defense must announce their decision, go forward with this jury, or switch to a bench trial with Judge Vincent Gahn. Now, Van Dyke also wants the judge to move the case out of Cook County altogether. The judge has been waiting to make that call, but could decide as soon as tomorrow.
Okay, so you've seen the jurors, 7 white, 3 Hispanic, 1 Asian, and 1 black. Now, somebody who's looking at this may say, okay, well, they did even it out. There's a Chinese and there's 3 Hispanics. But see, if you on my show, if you watch my content, You know they're Hispanic and what that means, right? You know what the Asian, I told you, 1970, they got their honorary card, right? Honorary white. Asians became honorary white, 1970. Hispanics are classified under census as what? White. Do y'all see what might take place? Are you seeing what is being shown? Let me keep showing you some more. Then I'm going to show you something that happened on the beginning of the delivery. Well, I won't say it till I get there. So the question was, now after they picked the 12 jurors, right, was would he take a bench trial? Now, one thing I'm going to say is, when that initially happened, supposedly they had took him, he was actually fired from the police department, right? He was no longer a police officer, but they overturned that. He's still a police officer. And when you've seen that, as you've seen in the beginning, what defense do you really have? Yes, the young man might have had a knife in his hand, but if you've seen the angle that he was walking, he never went towards them. He never lunged towards them, right? So if he is not coming in attack more towards you, then you have to be the aggressor. And then to let off 16 shots into his body. And if you read the backdrop of the story, it's going to tell you that he was reloading to shoot again. The partner had to tell him, it's done. It's over. Okay? Now, by him being a police officer, most of the time they would rather have a judge do it, right? You know. So they said they're going to allow it to look in the eyes of the public. It's going to be a fair trial, right? We just seen the makeup. 7 white, 4 women, 3 white men, 3 Hispanic, and an Asian. And you got 1 black woman, 50 years old, who work at FedEx. And they didn't want her on there for the simple fact that she was saying what was obvious, right? So let's see what happened that day when they talked about whether he was going to get on he wanted the judge or the jury, right? Now check this out. Hey, if you didn't know nothing about this story, when you leave from here today, you won't be able to say you didn't know. So I'm just saying, keep your eye. See right now, look at it. Look at it. It's doing. I mean, it is doing some crazy things over here. Okay, y'all working with it. Okay, I'm telling you, keep your eyes in Chicago. Keep your eyes on Chicago. All right, let me see if I can get this playing.
Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke had a big decision to make today. Should a jury or the judge decide his fate in the killing of Laquan McDonald? Van Dyke went with the jury choice. CBS 2's V went on why that might be a big gamble.
Jason Van Dyke walked into the criminal courts building Friday morning for another hearing. Inside the courtroom, his defense attorney spoke on his behalf before the judge.
The defendant will opt for a jury trial.
This comes just one day after the jury is picked in the murder trial with 12 jurors and 5 alternate jurors. The jury is made up of 12 people, 7 white, 3 Hispanic, 1 Asian American, and 1 African American. CBS 2's legal analyst Irv Miller believes Van Dyke is taking a huge risk.
Oh, it's a big gamble to go for a jury trial. When you're charged with first-degree murder, a policeman could spend the rest of his life in jail, leaving it in the hands of a jury that you never know what a jury's going to do.
Miller says typically when police officers are on trial, they would rather have a judge hear the case.
Judges know what the potential penalties are jurors really don't. That's a major factor in a case like this.
Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times. The 2014 shooting was captured on police dash cam video and sparked national attention. The city is bracing for more protests in the weeks ahead.
This Justice for Laquan movement is a nonviolent movement. It is a peaceful movement.
Now, the judge today did not rule on the change of venue motion. The defense attorney has been pushing to move this case out of Cook County. The judge says the jury will be sworn in Monday morning at 9. Reporting from the criminal courts building, V. Nguyen, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, V. And that
Okay. Normally my videos is a lot more smoother, but again, I'm fighting to stay on. So there you go once again. So he decided to take the jury trial, and the way that jury looking, it don't look good, right? It don't look good at all. So I'm gonna show you something else that came up on that too, which was an eyewitness. And then listen in this as it talks about the partner that was with Van Dyke. Listen what it talks about that, and I will tell you something after that. See if I can get this in, because everything, well, I mean, it is really playing shoddy, man. I mean, they really making it. I mean, look at that. So you can hear it. You can hear it. Look.
Killed was the star witness on day 2 of the highly anticipated.
Look at that. Look at that, man. That is crazy. Okay. Don't do it anyway. Let's get it.
The officer who was partnered with Jason Van Dyke on the night Laquan McDonald was killed was the star witness on day 2 of the highly anticipated murder trial. CBS 2's Mike Puccinelli is live at the courthouse at 26 in California with the latest. And Mike, we know the media wasn't able to videotape Joseph Walsh's testimony.
That's right. Walsh had the option to have the media blacked out from seeing his testimony, so the only way you could actually see what he had to say was to be in the courtroom at the time when he gave that testimony from the witness stand. Now, we're going to roll some video right now of the former Chicago police officer leaving the courthouse after giving testimony in the murder case against Jason Van Dyke. Walsh dramatically testified that his view of Laquan McDonald was very different from the view shown on the infamous dashboard camera video that shows the 17-year-old being shot dead. Walsh demonstrated in court how he says McDonald swung a knife at them and stared at the officers. But a man who happened to be driving in the area on that October night nearly 4 years ago said he saw the fatal encounter very differently.
Did you see him make any threatening movements?
No, not at all.
What did it appear he was doing when he was walking southwest?
It just, again, looked like he was trying to get away from all the officers.
Now, so far, 17 witnesses have testified in the case. Normally, we would have the witness list ahead of time so we'd know who might be taking the stand today. But in this case, of course, it's shrouded in a lot of secrecy. That because the judge, Vincent Gaughan, says he believes that needs to be done in order to ensure that Jason Van Dyke gets a fair trial. Reporting live.
A fair trial. Really? Is that possible? Is that really possible based on the simple fact of what has been shown and what is known? How can you, honestly, come on, man. Honestly, what defense do you have? It's kind of like what happened with the situation in that Texas situation where the woman said she went into the wrong apartment, right? Shooting a man up in his own apartment, right? What defense do you got? Right? So that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you today. Today is the 20th. It's the 20th right now. Next month will be the anniversary of Laquan McDonald being killed. It'll be 4 years next month on this day. It'll be 4 years. Look how long they've been dragging this case. But I ain't done showing you something. Before I'm done, I want to show you something, man. I'm showing you. Look, if you didn't know nothing about this, you don't know now. If you had no idea, if you don't know the magnitude of this, and you got a cop with first-degree murder, dude, miss. You know they don't want to put that on them books, because that means that every time that happens with us, you can recite this case. Have you noticed that every time these cases come up, what end up happening? You don't get that case. But this one here is so it's so one-sided. That's why I say keep your eyes on Chicago. Because if they pull the okie doke, what gonna happen? They said that the young man that is leading the activists, I don't know if he's Black Lives Matter or what it is, what he is, but they already insinuated, he said he's calling for a riot. Right? So are they already anticipating that what's going to already be the outcome? Because if you look at just with the tape, and again, it goes back to when those who've been around when Rodney King, they say what you see, it ain't what you see. It's, you don't understand the such as circumstances of what was happening. You're just looking for the see. But when they use it, the videotape is credible enough evidence. But when it's the other way around, it's never good enough, right? So I'm going to show you something else attributed to this case. See, all these other people out here who got these channels and talking about they being informative and they talking, you ain't going to touch this. And I know why you don't want to touch it. I know why you don't want to touch it. This is public information, right? But again, it just depends how you willing to do that. So here it goes. I'm going to show you again, show you something else.
The officer who was partnered with Jason Van Dyke on the night Laquan McDonald was killed was the star witness on day 2 of the highly anticipated murder trial. CBS 2's Mike Puccinelli is live at the courthouse at 26 in California with the latest. And Mike, we know the media wasn't able to videotape Joseph Walsh's testimony.
That's right. Walsh had the option to have the media blacked out from seeing his testimony, so the only way you could actually see what he had to say was to be in the courtroom at the time when he gave that testimony from the witness stand. Now, we're going to roll some video right now of the former Chicago police officer leaving the courthouse.
Why I went back and played that is because, ironically, what could his partner say that differ from what the tape showed? And yet they made it where it was blacked out so that it couldn't. Again, they originally was showing this on the court channel. Then they said, well, fuck it, we're gonna put it on Facebook. Then on this particular day that he gets on, we ain't showing shit. Are you understanding what I'm saying here? Are you getting what I'm trying to show you here? Chicago gonna have to embrace, because the fix might be in. You understand? The fix might already be in. So let me show you what they doing. Let me check this out. Now. You know how they did the brother that happened with that white girl in Texas, right? How they criminalizing him and making him seem to be the aggressor. Well, we found weed in there. We find this and this and that. And not dealing with the simple fact of what took place. Now, I seen this video, and you look with your own eyes. You look at this. Hold on. Took the sound out of it. What? Well, I'm going to talk while it's playing. They humanizing him. Huh? Look at that. Humanizing him. Right? Oh, he's a family man. He's crying. He's missing his family. And he's just, huh? Don't get me wrong. There's people out here who do shit that deserve to get something. But I don't believe that boy deserved what he got. And based on what took place, that wasn't right. There's no defense. There's nothing you can say that's going to make that right. Now, the technicality they want to use is, right, they trying to say, was it legal or lawfully? It's not about whether right or wrong. Was it lawfully? Was it within the confines of the game? Are the rules applied? Did he follow the rules? Not whether he was wrong about what he did, but was it within the rules of the game? This is what we have to deal with. And then here's why they always trying to stigmatize and put us in. But this, imagine you had to live like this. This is how you have to live every single damn day, worrying about this kind of shit. When somebody who got some issues, who probably shouldn't even have no gun, don't have the right mindset. But this, he get the job anyway, right? You get the job any motherfucker way, and you get to come around me with your sickness, right? And you can do what the fuck you do and then hide behind the motherfucking law. But this is right. But this is considered right. And we racist because we're talking about this shit. But I'm saying, Chicago, prepare for impact. Because I think the fix is in. Now, I could be wrong. And again, I always keep telling you, if I'm wrong, I'll come back and I'll apologize. I'd rather be wrong. I'd rather be wrong. And again, there's a lot of things in Chicago. There's a lot of institutions, Nation of Islam, Moorish Science Temple. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those original organizations are right there in Chicago. I know everybody talking about New York is the Mecca, but you better look at Chicago. Chicago got a lot going. And matter of fact, let me tell you something today. Those who might know about Chicago. You ever heard of John Burge? That motherfucker died today. Yeah, he died today. That motherfucker was torturing the shit and putting motherfuckers in jail. He put so many black men in jail and tortured them into confession. Today he got his call. Today he got his call. Okay? So now here we go again. See, the history, we keep going over time and time again. It keep being the same thing, but you keep saying it's us. It's us. We are the antagonist. We the one doing all this. It ain't us. It ain't us. It's something in you. It's something you feeling inside yourself. Something somebody told you, some lies people done told you, and you trying to make it fruition as a reality to give yourself because of how you feel really about your own goddamn self. And we have to live under that day in, day out. Under the threat of how you feeling. You're not even safe in your own motherfucking house. Motherfucker come in and swear out, oh, I went to the wrong place. They do that shit with warrants too, don't they? Go kick in motherfucking door, here's a couple of dollars, fix the door. Don't worry about that shit, huh? See? This is the kind of shit we have to live in. But everybody keeps saying something wrong with us. See, if you can't step outside yourself and look at some of the shit you doing and can't humanize that shit, then you have to evaluate yourself for who you really are. Because again, I done told you already, you think you got that shit down packed that somehow you going to be living with the devil and throwing up the pitchfork and y'all going to be celebrating, but you don't know the hand of the Creator. You don't know what he got for him. You don't know what he got for you. But you keep on with it. Y'all keep on with it. You don't learn the lessons. But you going to learn eventually. Because see, what Teddy Pendergrass saying, you can't hide from yourself. Because everywhere you go, there you are. You can't fake it. Huh? It gone. You're going to have to deal with yourself. You better start trying to clean that shit up. You better start cleaning up some of the shit you done got these people fucked up. You keep playing, y'all. Y'all keep thinking you could keep doing that, and you think by getting rid of them, they're going to make the problem go away. You think that your science is going to make you live forever. They said Duracell and the Ever-Ready battery. What's that? Duracell and the Ever-Ready? What, that rabbit and shit? You think them batteries don't die? That's the inevitability. Everybody got to do that. Funny, man. It's sad and it's funny. Because it's like no matter what you tell these motherfuckers, they just don't get it. So you know what? Let me give you a visualization. But in this case, it's in reverse. The person you're going to see doing the business is kind of going to be like, well, let you see it first. Let me let you see it. Let me see it so you can see what I'm talking about. Huh? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. Come on, let's do it right now. Come on. Oh, they got this mug slow than the mug over here. It's all right, but I'm working with it. Let's get it.
How did it feel, Preston?
Mind the uniform, cleric. I plan to be wearing it for a long time.
See, odds was you thought was in your favor. You thought you had it surrounded. You thought you had all your men in place. You thought that ain't no way he can win. But see, you don't know how that go in. You keep pushing the mug and pushing the mug and pushing the mug. You know. There's a breaking point for everything. And see, even though people sit around and they in think tanks and they coming up with more ways to do this and that, but the greatest poker player created the game, the world, and it's all. So what makes you think that you're going to outplay that hand? See, your shit is temporary. And you think you could just do anything and everything as long as your laws, right? Your laws and statutes and commands, as long as they fall within the realm of your shit, everything good. But the problem is, it's only temporary. When do you realize that enough shit is enough? Whatever your gripe was towards the reason why you do what you do, has it run its course where it's now an overkill? Let's just say, let me show y'all something, man. Let me show you something. Something on that I just said right there. An overkill. Now let me show you this Freudian slip. I'm going to show you the Freudian slip that this Van Dyke's lawyer said. Let me show you something, man. Let me show this Freudian slip he did. Let me show you something. I want you to listen carefully and watch him. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, shit. Don't tell me I don't got it. I know I got it. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Check this out. I want listen carefully. Now, this was day one. You know how when they had the trial, state came out and laid down its case? Well, the defense came and laid its case. You ain't going to get the whole case. It's just a segment. But this motherfucker had a Freudian slip. He said something, and you're going to see it. And I said, this is over with. But we're going to find out later as the case goes on. But this, let me let you see it first. Let me let you see it. Then see if you agree what I'm saying. All right, so let me get it set up. And let's get it. Let's get it. Now check this out. Listen carefully.
You're preparing to attack, and you are looking at your attacker. Think about it like a horror movie that you've watched. You see the villain walking down the street, not very fearful, but when he stops and he turns and he makes eye contact with the victim, then that's when the music starts playing. Well, that's what happened here. The government made a big deal about 16 shots. And they even did that dramatic, slow pause countdown. Well, what the evidence is going to show is that a police officer with average skills can fire his weapon 5 to 6 times in 1 second. Mr. McMahon said it took Laquan McDonald 1.6 seconds till he hit the ground. So at that point, Jason Van Dyke had likely fired approximately 10 shots. And some of your thoughts might be, why didn't he stop as soon as he hit the ground? It's a reasonable question. But here's what the evidence is going to show. The evidence is going to show that a police officer involved in a deadly force situation where they have to fire their weapon, there are significant physiological changes that they experience which impacts their decision making. I'm sure all of us have been in some type of stressful situation, but imagine a shooting. It's the most stressful. We're going to have experts talk about it. They're going to talk about from the time an individual recognizes that an individual is down on the ground, it takes up to 1.5 seconds for that to register with the brain. So Jason Van Dyke fired 14 shots within that time frame of reasonable shots. That's what the evidence is going to show. There are 2 shots that the government wants you to think that it's, as they did their slow countdown, that's how he was shooting. Just shooting at him. That's not what happened. It was pop, 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 pop. Fired his 14 shots, and then there's a pause. He's reassessing. And at this point, you got to realize, and this is what the evidence is going to show, this is an individual not watching it on a movie screen. This is an individual that just had to shoot somebody 14 times. His body is experiencing everything that a police officer would experience. Tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, he can't hear what's going on because he's focused on the threat. And the threat in this case was Laquan McDonald. Jason Van Dyke had no idea if he even hit Laquan McDonald. You can't see bullets entering somebody. Sure, he fell to the ground. Sure, he can assume that it possibly was because of his gunshots, but he didn't know if they were lethal gunshots. He didn't know if Laquan McDonald had the ability to get back up and attack him. Ron McDonald holds on to this knife the whole time when he's on the ground, despite being shot 14 times. He starts making movements, which you'll see on the video. And it doesn't look like drastic movements that he's going to get up, but there's a couple problems with video. This video is not from the perspective of my client's view. It'd be great if we had a video from that perspective. We do. We do. We recreated this using exact measurements, drones, and we can show you the angle recreated from Jason Van Dyke's perspective. And then you'll be able to judge a little bit better as to what Jason Van Dyke was feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, if the decision to shoot was lawful, there is no crime. If the decision to shoot is lawful, there is no crime. The government talks about 16 shots, 16 shots. Well, they didn't charge him with excessive force. They didn't charge him with shooting too many times. They charged him with first-degree murder. And you're going to see that when Ron McDonald was shot, the first 3 shots hit him in the front. And the first or second shot killed him. We know that was shot. The first 3 shots hit him in the front. And the first or second shot killed him. We know. And you're going to see that when Ron McDonald was shot, the first 3 shots hit him in the front. And the first or second shot killed him. We know that shooting too many times, they charged him with first-degree murder. And you're going to see that when Ron McDonald was shot, the first 3 shots hit him in the front. And the first or second shot killed him. We know that after the fact. We're going to have evidence of that. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you believe everything the government said, and you believe, well, I wouldn't have shot him, Jason Van Dyke, he wasn't in reasonable fear. Even if you believe that, which I don't think you will at the end of this trial, the shooting is still lawful. Listen.
Did y'all hear that shit? Did you hear it? I replayed it several times. If he said the first 3 shots and the second shot they know for a fact had him killed, then it was an overkill to the extreme. Was that a Freudian slip? Because you see how he took that pause afterwards and walked it off. And even if you should believe that, that was a major slip. Now, I don't know whether the jury gonna catch that. You may not even agree with what I just said. But that was a major slip. You said he was already dead. But the story will tell you that he was in the ambulance and died in the ambulance on his way. But you already said he was dead on the second shot. See, the creator good. So you can try, say, I don't know how you could be a defense attorney trying to even, how would you even take that case? You have no, there's no justification. Now you see what he's saying is, he's saying lawfully. They don't give a fuck about where he killed him. Was it within the confines of the game? See? If a motherfucker understand the rules of a game, like you playing games, right? Like if you play Monopoly, Scrabble, Tunk, poker, you know, whatever your game is, normally people who understand the rules of the game better than others normally are better players. So is that what then happened now? See, police officers are police officers, but they go to court and they prosecute when they arrest you. So when they sitting in there, aren't they learning law at the same time? So don't they know what work, what don't work, what sticks, what don't stick? You understand what I'm saying? So this shit is getting out of hand. It's getting so out of hand, and that nobody wants to really evaluate the psychosis of these cops, because that seems not to even be an issue. It's always the criminal's fault. And even if they ain't even a criminal, we're going to go back in your background, because we know you being black, we done fucked with you somewhere in your life. So you're going to have something in your background. Just because the motherfucker got something in his background don't necessarily mean that, you know, again, shit, you can drive your car and still end up going to court for resisting arrest and some shit they done made up to even get you in the situation. So I think that these motherfuckers got a little bit too much power. But the fact of trying to defend this shit and talking about getting a fair trial, there ain't no trial. There ain't nothing fair, because you ain't got no defense. You have no defense. I'm saying it, y'all. I'm saying it. You got no defense, man. But again, prepare to see what's going to happen in Chicago. Keep your eyes on Chicago. That's all I'm going to tell you. Keep your eyes on this case and keep your eyes on Chicago. So, you know, I'm at that 2-minute mark. Let me see who out here might be saying something. I see 11 people in the house. I like to think, oh, okay, people leaving out. Okay. Well, 11 people in the house. 11 people got out of here. Okay. Let me read some of these. If you got something you want to put out there, I'm looking now, so I'm going to try to read some of the messages I see out the box. I know that sister she going to say some stuff. So let me see what's being said out here. Let me go back and look. Because, you know, I'm at the 2:30 mark. You know, I got one more, then I'm going to close out. Thanks, out the box. I sound good. Thank you. I didn't even do a mic check tonight. I just assumed my mic was good. Out the box said, this is the sort of thing that black communities should organize before it happens. Create communities and ambassadors to direct white media to what they want them to see. You're right. That's what I say about propaganda. See, black people, see, again, like that lawyer just stated, he said the perspective of, he said, now you might see the video, and from the video, you're going to assess the video and say, he just killed the man. But he said, you need to come from the perspective that he's coming from, which I don't want to give a fuck. What? He said, I can see with my own eyes that the young man, whether did he go in vehicles? Did he try to steal a radio? Did he have a knife? I'll say yes, yes, and yes. Just on the simple fact of what you said. But did he deservedly to get empty clips and you was going to reestablish another clip and pump in him? Was that merited? That was not merited, man. Not at all. And so the propaganda is, yes, they're going to keep doing that shit to make him seem innocent and that he's law-abiding and he's a family man. But this young man is dead. And you know the funny thing is that they're not talking about his mother's father. His mother's uncle is a prominent preacher who they don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about that. The way the story came out that he's in the foster care and he's this wild, and yet the uncle was, you know, got stuff out there that's talking about stuff, and it's like they're not gonna talk about that. They don't want to talk about that, right? So you're right about the out the box. Communities should organize, but that's been our Achilles heel. The one thing I believe the Achilles heel about us, the reason why we don't organize, is for the simple fact that we got to look at it like from this. If we're going to all believe history about, again, they're bringing us from Africa. So if you have all these, you know, motherfuckers out here who were just like renegades, because it got to a point that the people who were supposedly garnering slaves didn't all come together. Motherfucker was just, you know, let's go make us some money and shit, right? So that means you was grabbing people from any way you could get them. So that means that the people that you're bringing, a lot of them weren't probably from the same tribe. So you had a difference between, you know, what we see today, like in Africa with the tribal, how there's a difference in culture, and then you have those that have those internal wars. Well, what makes that any different? That reason why we don't get together like that has something to do with some of that in us. Like sometimes people don't get along because they don't know why, but it maybe has something to do with ancestral tribalism that you don't know, because again, we can't really pinpoint exactly. A motherfucker can take a DNA test and tell about, well, you're from these people here, but you can't tell me what family I'm from. You just gonna tell me an area. What the fuck good is that shit? What good is it tell me a fucking area? I need to know a family member so I can be like, family. You know, you're gonna tell me, well, you from Guinea or you from South Africa. You from what does that don't complete shit. They're just telling me a location. They ain't telling me directly who I'm related to, right? So with that kind of internal shit, that kind of keeps us kind of at that, and plus the propaganda and all this programming are making us hateful towards one another and disliking and making difference as into, you know, economically and all this social status and all this bullshit. So it's a lot of divide and conquer. So it seems right to say we should unify, but we can't do it because of all them different elements. Now, Matthew Mann said the thing is they barely show other communities like the Amerindians, Polynesian, Asian, Middle Eastern, Hispanic, Mestizos, Eskimos, Jewish, and white communities. Right, because again, it seems like this whole country is only built on white folks and black folks. Now, the other people who you are speaking about in there, they are just here. They got their own communities. They do their own things. They not a part of this here. This fight is between black Americans and so-called white, European, Aryan, Caucasian people. You get what I'm saying? So that's where this whole fight is, because, you know, one been here as long as the other one, or even longer, even before he was there, even though he has, you know, skewed up history and said that these people here was these people. When it's coming out, there's more people doing more research. You come to find out that they're going to say, I think these copper colored people, these African Americans, these Negroes, these black Americans, I think that's who these people really are, right? So people, the more you out here searching, you're seeing people who are really being extensive and doing their expertise in that kind of, you know, information. But you're right, as Matthew, about they don't show those communities because, again, they don't have no real fight in this battle here. And yeah, they over-exaggerated. Yes, Amerindian communities are smaller populations than any race in the United States of America. True. As bad as African Americans may have it, they still have it better than American Indians in terms of economic policy. Shit, I think African Americans take that casino money. I think they take that land. Yeah. See the difference? I'm not here to get you with it about that. I'm gonna say this. You say they may got it better. Put it this way. A lot of people would assume that if black people had their own land, that it'd be all fucked up and wow and all that shit. I don't think that would happen, especially now. I mean, again, every community gonna have its bad elements, but I'm saying if you gave people that what the Indians have garnered and allow that to you know, blossom, you might be surprised. You'd be like, we want our shit back. We thought y'all had it better. Because I don't know how you can assess that when are you looking at that as you talking about like certain people who got some money, like your Oprah and Michael Jordan. Those are just carrots in front of the horse. They dangle that shit in front of the horse to make everybody else assume that they could obtain that kind of shit. When the reality of it is, those are just figureheads. You understand? That's not real. Now, I can't say for a fact about the Amerindians' life, but what my knowledge of what I do know. I mean, you got lands, you have casinos, and you know, so black people ain't got none of that shit. You understand? So, if you put that on the scale, I wouldn't say whether ours is. I would say you still got the better deal out of it. They're not killing you today Not saying they wouldn't kill you back then, but they ain't killing you today like they're killing us today. So again, I may agree to disagree with that. Angel Barron, I knew that what you were doing were cutting up to. Oh, okay, let's say. Okay, what you were cutting. Okay, all right. Out of the box, I would have gotten mines too. I got the fuck out. Yeah, I know that's right. You talking about old girl with that damn camera and shit. That coming and talking about something. You know you're looting, bitch. If you don't get your ass again, when I figuratively speaking, that's not towards. That's just figuratively speaking. I'm just saying, bitch, you don't get your ass out the motherfucking way. I'll steamroll your ass with this shit. I'm gonna try and get home and give it to my family. You get your ass out of here. Matter of fact, what you got? I had to do a Samuel L. Jackson. What you got in your wallet? You know what I'm saying? I had to be like, what you got in your motherfucking wallet? So let's see who else I got in here. It says, out of box says, when whites are caught doing it on the news, the caster said, family just trying to get what they need in this emergency. Yeah, right. It's always sentimental, and it has it's not negative. But when we do this shit, oh my God, it's everything that could be. You know what I'm saying? Again, it validates the bullshit they got in their damn head. That's why they do this shit. Matthew Mann says, statistically, numerous studies say many other contradictions. About what? Are you talking about what I said? Maybe that's what you're saying. Arab Muslims for 14,000 years at least, a lot of them saw black Africans as quite similar to dumb animals. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. Of course, Arab's gonna have that issue. He's coming out of the same place as the rest of them. He's coming out of them Asian steeps too. He's part of that family too. See, that's another thing too. He's part of the steeps. Them Asians and Caucasians, all of them is coming out of that areas over there in them steeps. A lot of people say Caucasian, the Caucasus Mountains, but there's over in them steeps too, right? So for them to have a negative, feeling towards the Africans and calling them animals, again, I have to lower you to give myself some validation. You understand? Matter of fact, wherever you originate from, why you didn't build your shit up? Where's all your advanced knowledge and technology and shit you built? Why are you coming over with somebody else that's supposed to be inferior, but they got all the shit? You understand? Why did they got all the shit and you didn't have to get nothing? I mean, they answer that shit for a motherfucker. If we gonna talk like that. He goes on and says, in fact, many Islamic Arabs still view blacks as slaves and nothing more. Of course. I mean, again, how's you gonna validate your empire, right? It's again. My analogy is if I'm a ball player and I'm superior, and you're a regular just making it in the NBA, there ain't shit I worry about what you can do to me. So if that be the case, then why does one have to prepare and do so much shit in order to put himself in a position that, you know what I'm saying, that makes him going to be superior? Why can't he just do the shit on this naturalness? Because it ain't real. It's you know what I'm saying? It's not real at all. So that's just him saying that shit. Islamic Arabs still believes blacks are slaves and nothing more. That's their belief. Yeah, you understand? But I mean, if we go back in time in history, who was who? See, there's a time when blacks ruled the earth, but all that's been erased. Ain't nobody want to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about when blacks ruled the earth. So when you got in, of course you gonna do. They said the victor that controls the pen. He's gonna write history according to the way he sees it, and so he can say what he wants. But again, depending on what I mean. Slaves, it's only because why you created the gunpowder, and that's what changed the game up. Let's be real about this shit. Without the invention of the gun, this shit would have never happened. This shit would have never happened. 1304. Do the research. 1304. That's when the Caucasian is setting up himself to get in position of what he's doing to where he is today. Without the invention of that gun, they know what time it would be. See? But anyway. Going on, read Como say Arabs enslaved whites too, but they did not dehumanize whites as much. Because they family. You get what I'm saying? Because you got to remember that, okay, let's say if the Aryan or the Caucasian, he says that he's Indo-European. Well, what is the Arab? Ain't he Indo too? So they family. Right? So he's considered family. So, of course, he's not going to do family, right? He don't consider the African family because he done lost his history about who he really is. Most of them done forgot that, or they don't want to recognize that. So what they do is what they do, right? They ain't gonna never admit that. That's the whole thing. You would say you're a caveman that came from where, right? Where you show that damn shit with the evolution of the motherfucking monkey that devoured and turned into a white man. Well, they keep saying that, they keep, like we showed earlier today about blacks being baboons and all these niggas is monkeys and all that shit and gorillas. Well, then where did you originate from then? See? Because you hate, no, you just say, well, you the better part of that. Well, no, you still came from that. So whatever the hell you think of us, you motherfucker, you a byproduct of the same shit that you came from. But that's you. Again, you need that shit. Okay, so I'm gonna finish off with this. See, I ain't gonna say that out the box. I'm reading it though. Yeah, exactly. A serial killer, right? I mean, it was just blatant killing. There ain't no defense for that shit. But again, like I said, keep your eyes and ears on that case, because that case will make a whole lot of difference if they do convict him, because that'll be a cop with a murder. Not just, they normally give him, they don't give him murder, but in his case it's so atrocious that they had to put the murder. But will he walk is another thing. Propaganda, the hero wears the white suit and everyone else was in the black. Yeah, except for when they want to show power though, right? Out the box, like a judge wear black, right? Why he got on black for power? You don't wear that white in that courtroom. You wear black. But again, you need that to validate the bullshit in your motherfucking head. And that's about it. Let's see, he had to stop and reload. How do you 14 shots in time without reload? You know what, out the box, that's another thing too. I'm trying to find out too, what type of gun did he use that he was able to shoot 16 rounds, right? So is it possible that there was more than one gun being fired, but he's going to take it? You get what I'm saying? So there's a lot of speculations to that. And then if you read the story, you'll find out that he said that the partner said he had to come to him and say, stop, man. He was reloading again. Told him, stop, man. He's done. So that tells me, I mean, you say fear? I mean, that was like the Mike Brown situation when he said Mike Brown bulked up like some monster and was going through bullets. Like, what? Huh? What in the marbles in your mind, huh? This comic book shit. He got angry and bulked up and roar and going through bullets. Well, guess what? Maybe one of these days, y'all gonna set shit off and it's gonna be a gear you ain't never seen, because something gonna be with somebody, and I'm talking about in these people, And they said, no weapon for them shall prosper. What happens then when that can't, when that can't, you can't hurt them with that? And righteous indignation is on their side. So that's why all this shit need to cease. Motherfuckers need to stop all this bullshit. But you can't tell a motherfucker nothing there. He gonna be persistent. He gonna be continuously on that path of what he believes in, instead of seeing what the truth is. See, he could eradicate the planet and bring it to a harmony. But some people just can't. If I'm equivalent, let's say if everybody had, let's just say if everybody in the United States had, let's say, $1 million. So that means nobody living on the damn street. You had to learn how to manage your shit, right, and so forth. So you manage your motherfucking money, you're living, nobody, motherfucker, ain't gonna be no crime and all that shit. People that do what it is. You're gonna have some fuck niggas that gonna do some stupid shit. That's gonna always happen. White, black, Chinese, it don't matter. It's gonna always happen. But a lot of the bullshit. But now the problem becomes not that the fact that economic you can't support and take care of and you don't have shit. It's going to be other shit. You may not look as good as another. A female not as pretty as another. Another dude not as handsome as another one. Maybe you ain't as tall. Maybe you're not handsome and all this other shit. So there's going to be other variables in there. See, with money, so a motherfucker that's stacking his money, a man who's not as handsome can use his money that will make him look a little better. You know what I'm saying? He can have the car, the clothes. You know what I'm saying? He can take you on the trips, and he don't look as ugly to his sisters. He don't look as ugly as he used to when he first seen him. He kind of not that bad now, huh? He look a little good now. But if he ugly and he broke, he gonna always look ugly. You know what I'm saying? So he can't hide that shit. So so money changes the game. And so when they create the money game, it changes the dynamic of, let's say, for instance, a Bill Gates motherfucker, right? He got all that motherfucking money, right? Now, there's a lot of women who say he ain't they type, but he got enough money to make you his type. Those who he can get into. I'm not saying everybody gonna fall, but he got enough money that he can be a lot of women who would never have looked at him if he didn't have that money, but because he got that money, oh, he your type. Oh, he your type now, right? So it happens. So it changed the game. Material and wealth changes the game. So now if you even it up, now it's going to be just the natural gifts that you got. Maybe you're a better orator, you articulate, you know what I'm saying? You got charisma, you funny. Now this is dead, born ass motherfucker here, you understand? Then he in the room with a person like him. What do he got over him? Nothing. But if he got money and institutions and business and, you know what I'm saying? Now, when I come in the room and I ain't got shit, but I got charisma, articulation, and all that good shit, but he got all that. So I ain't shit compared to him, right? That's the kind of game it is. That's what the money does. The money takes away the natural gifts. So now they got everybody capitalistic, everybody's up on this shit trying to stack their paper so that they can, again, play the game. But without it, motherfucker, I hear men saying he can't get a woman if he ain't got no money. Man, dude. I'm from the old school. You understand? I'm not saying money is not a necessity, but I ain't paying you for it. Now, if you don't like me because me and you compatible, then that's your motherfucking problem. I'm not paying you to be with me. Some of y'all motherfuckers out here paying. A lot of you women is accepting. Make a lot of motherfuckers thinking they somebody because you taking that money. And when the money comes short, you ain't fucking with them. And then they find out that you never liked me in the first place. See, if you start off like that, that's the way you're going to end off at. But that's another topic for another day. But you know, I'm at the 251 mark. So I'm going to show you at the last end on this part here. Then I'll come back for anybody got a couple more questions. But did y'all hear what Lima has spoken South Africa? That's why I want to end out on this. Now listen to what he's saying about South Africa, right? Check this out. Check this out. Hold on.
Don't talk to me about peace. There's no peace without justice. Justice is the return.
Hold on. Come on back there.
Don't talk to me about peace. There's no peace without justice. Justice is the return of the land. There will never be peace at the expense of justice. All what they see from us, we're just pretending. Our smiles are not genuine. We are hating inside. We have lost our loved ones. They were buried in unidentifiable graves. Our sisters, our brothers were killed by de Klerk, by Botha, by Malan. They were buried in graves which cannot be identified till today. And they said to us, we must forget and move forward. We will never forget until the bodies of our loved ones are returned to our families and they are buried with dignity. De Klerk, it's not me who's speaking. De Klerk, you are not troubled by Julius Malema. You are troubled by the spirits of those who died, who were killed by your government, who were buried in unidentifiable graves. I'm fighting for those people. I want justice for those families. I don't have anything against white people. But I have a problem because black people are suffering in this country. Why us? Are we a cursed nation? Did Jesus Christ die for us to suffer like this? What have we done to deserve such treatment in our own country? Why are we not finding waiters and waitresses that are white? Why are we not finding farm workers that are white? Why are we not finding security guards that are white? Why are we not finding the domestic workers that are white? What have we done? Why is it only us who are working, who are providing a cheap labor? What have we done? To who? Why is it a black nation alone suffering so much? Our people do not have houses. Our people do not have jobs. All white people are working. All white people have got everything beautiful that comes with this land. We have nothing. And then I hear pastors have released statements that Malema is inciting violence. One, because I speak against white people, because I'm exposing the suffering of our people. Where were you, pastor? Where were you, bishop, when they put a black person in a coffin alive? A white man forcing a black person into a coffin. Where were you, pastor, to release a statement condemning that? You will never do that because it's a black person. Why? A black life is cheap. It doesn't matter. When you talk about white people, you invite enemies. I'm not hating them. Why is the black nation suffering? Why is the ANC not doing anything about it? We will do something about it. We will fight for it. We will do everything in our power, whatever it takes, to collapse white supremacy and replace it with an equal society where there will not be black or white. There will be humanity. All of us, we will enjoy the fruits of our freedom. It's not yet Uhuru, but we will arrive there. With the EFF alive, we will arrive there. We cannot be scared of prison. We cannot be scared of persecution. Our leaders have gone through worse situation. We are not going through anything. So you can be guaranteed that we will never retreat. When we leave here, you see any beautiful piece of land, you like it, occupy it, it belongs to you, it is your land.
See? And all he trying to do is what? They're just trying to get back what was theirs. But that's a crime. It's hateful. It's wrong for you to want to have anything. And that's right in the eyes of some people. Right? You ain't supposed to have nothing. And that's a good psychology. They don't see nothing wrong in that. Like I said, equality. Can't be equality because he can never look at you as equal. So we're just supposed to live in the conditions that we are and be happy with it. And don't complain about it. Don't say nothing about it. And that would be right in their eyes. You understand? But see, that's why in South Africa, I guess it's going to get to that point where, you know, the tire's going to meet the road. And, you know, I guess they're preparing for that, right? That's what it seems like he's saying. They're preparing for that. And so, you know, how can some people, how can you provide when there's nothing to provide for? You on land that your ancestors have always been on, but now it's been undermined and you are being, you know, slowly pushed out, you know, having no place to go. So you leave them no choice. So it's kind of crazy, man. But I mean, that's the psychosis. That's just what it is. And so, you know, I'm one more, you know, I'm going to go out. Let me see. Let's do it like this. Anybody got to say, okay, nobody got nothing else to say? Okay. So I'm going to play this on behalf of what he just stated. Let's see if I got that. I know I got that in here. I should have that in here. I don't have that in here? Damn. I thought I had that. Nope, I don't have that. Wow, I'm surprised I don't have that. I'm supposed to have something else in here. Well, been a good show. I struggled to get it through. Once again, I want to thank everybody that came, those who passed by, those who first time coming by. This is kind of what we do over here. You know, so I kind of keep what's going on, and those who just might be agents or whatever for the system. Again, you know, there ain't nothing new about what I do over here. I ain't doing nothing. There ain't no sedition going over here. This ain't no antagonizing. Ain't none of that. It's just, these are the facts. You know they the facts, right? But I know you don't want to hear that. So, appreciate everybody who came in tonight. One thing you do for me is just at least hit the like button. As you can see, when you look at my videos, you see my videos don't get past 200. Yet, I got just about 3,000 people subscribing, which means that notifications don't go to everybody. And my videos are not being seen nowhere else. So, it's incumbent on you who may like what you hear and how I do my little production. Tonight it was a little bit because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get on. So I kind of, you know, had some stuff to put together. But if you like, hit that like button, subscribe, share. You understand? Do what it do. So, again, I'm your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds. My motto is, I ain't going to tell you what I heard, y'all. I'm going to tell you what I know. And again, keep your eyes focused on Chicago. In that case, because that case, man, a lot could be said about that case. So, I'm going to close out. hopefully I'll be on the next show. I got through the night, so we be
unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers.
No, see, I mean, they really. I mean, it's like, man, everything I do is like, it's like real tough. But we're gonna close this show out for the night. Again, thank everybody. Till next time, stay strong, stay black, and whatever you are, stay strong in yours as well.
Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, and it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu, all white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant. Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 months before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. They were 5 months before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like Chris!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil. Because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
Well, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? It knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead." Because I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.
Of the following